Free fall. As the forest surges upward, a huge piece of the tower, a stone cylinder, falls with us. One of the beasts swoops past. The tower segment bounces off its body, and it begins to spin. We are on a collision course. I swipe at the air, trying to will my body to pass harmlessly through the center of the tower, but after a few moments of helpless flailing, all I can do is brace myself for impact. Nicholas and I land side by side. As we skid across the slanted interior wall, we lean hard to avoid a pickup truck and the boat attached to it. 26-year-old me hangs from the driver's side window, slapping his palm against the side of the truck. Are we good to go? Chewie closes the passenger door. All hitched up. Better be. 26-year-old me fires up the engine. I don't want to have to explain to the chief that his boat broke loose in the middle of the night, especially since he doesn't exactly know we're borrowing it. Chewie's laughter lingers as the truck and boat ramp up the rising tower wall and launch high into the brightening sky. Nicholas looks at me in comical astonishment just before we backslide and spill out ass first. I'm flipping end over end now, totally out of control. Nicholas crashes against me, his forearms slamming into my abdomen. As we fall, he kicks and pushes until we're heading toward the boat, which tumbles just below us. Crates of bottled water and an assortment of food items spill out of the bed of the truck and whiz past. Nicholas tries to shout something at me, but the rush of air mutes his voice. He releases me and makes a grabbing gesture. I follow his instruction at the earliest opportunity, and as we hurl toward the stern of the ship, I grope for anything I can grasp. We break through the tree line. I'm battered by a smear of branches rushing past. I do all I can to maintain my hold on the guardrail, but I lose my battle, slipping away. Every muscle in my body tightens as I anticipate the murderous pain of the inevitable impact. Nicholas's question haunts me as my certain death creeps ever closer. Am I worth saving? I've never thought of myself as a bad man, at least not irredeemably so. In the last week, I've contemplated theft, adultery, and suicide, but I haven't committed any of those sins. Have I murdered? I'm afraid that question goes above my pay grade. Certainly, I've killed. At times, I have been a good man, and at others, I've been a tool of avarice. I am a man, complicated by circumstances and choices. Am I worth saving? Have I a life of value? All I know, as the air presses back against me, is that I don't want to die like this. The world around me darkens. I'm still falling, but I'm passing through the chamber of 6 doors, which, from my perspective, seems to have been turned onto its side. I shoot out of one door and land solidly on the 5th. My face leaves a greasy smudge on the nameplate. I work my way up to my hands and feet and read the word marking this room. Agape, the highest form of love. I push in the key I found beside my brother's body, and the door swings open. I'm outside again, plummeting toward the earth. I close my eyes as I hit the surface, but I don't land on solid ground as I expected. Instead, I sink below the surface of filthy water and bounce off the bottom. I'm baptized in pain and hurt like hell. My lungs burn for oxygen. I seize hold of a stop sign and use it to reach the surface. I gasp and sputter. I'm alive. Nicholas, I wheeze, trying to keep my head above the churning murk. I find Nicholas, drenched and treading water several yards away. Is this a lake? He asks, scanning the water line, which reaches up to the rooftops of the houses all around us. A tarp snaps in the breeze. The words, "Help us, please," are painted in large block letters. A bloated body floats, caught in the brush of a half-submerged tree. A scared dog stands on a shed-turned island. "Oh, what's going?" Nicholas asks. "Where are we?" "New Orleans. a day or so after Hurricane Katrina hit. Nicholas and I clamber onto a nearby roof and beach ourselves on the hot shingles. We roll onto our backs and blink at our unbelievable surroundings. The collapse of the World Trade Center, the destruction in Fallujah, the devastation of Katrina, the ruin of my personal relationships. It wasn't enough I lived through it once. I had to do it all again. "Come now, Paul," says Nicholas. "You've been reliving these things in your mind over and over every single day of your life." The sight of Nicholas is a shock. He has a bloody lip and a scrape across his rosy cheeks. His twinkling eyes are all but swollen shut. His beard and hair are a crusty tangle, and his tattered and soiled red suit clings to his exhausted body. It hurts so much, I have to laugh. Staring back at me like I've lost my mind, Nicholas asks, "What's so funny?" Not a damn thing. Nicholas pulls his boots off, one at a time, and pours the swampy water out. He removes his hat, tossing it as far as he can into the floodwater. "A hurricane did this?" The storm hit, and the levees broke. The local government didn't arrange for transportation, so the most vulnerable people in the city were left stranded. They were told to go to the Superdome, and there they sat, while the state and federal government played politics. 6 people died at the stadium, and that was the safest place to be. "Seems so senseless." I nod in agreement. Yeah, 3,000 people were killed on 9/11. We lost 4,500 in 7 years of war in Iraq, 2,400 in Afghanistan during that same period, and 2,000 in the storm. My God. That's not counting wounded, I add. And just counting Americans. And it only gets worse from there. This summer, we had hurricane after hurricane and wildfires because of drought. And they say that's only going to get worse. People are turning to hateful causes, clubbing each other in the streets and using their cars as weapons of terror. Men with guns are finding new and better ways to mow down crowds at movie theaters and music venues, schools and churches. We're still fighting the same wars, and it seems like we're on the brink of yet another. There's literally nothing to stop this one from going nuclear. Man has gone mad, and these are dark days indeed. I lay flat, turning only my eyes to him. People die every day, Nicholas. Why am I so special that you come to me? He peels off his sopping jacket. He starts to speak, but falls silent. These people were left without food or water, I say. The Coast Guard, a few private citizens. No one else really came to help. We were still at full throttle in 2 wars. Our resources were thin. The soldiers we could spare were ordered to hunt down looters. Another dark laugh. Looters! Can you imagine, Nicholas? This whole city is dying. How are these people supposed to pay for what they need to stay alive when the stores are all underwater? I sit up and look toward the distant approaching engine. And that's why Chewie and I went AWOL. The stolen boat pulls into the graveyard that used to be a neighborhood, and the men on board scan their surroundings for any sign of survivors. I take the phone from my pocket. August 30th, 2005. I show Nicholas the time. 23:59:59. Well, I say, It's now or never.